Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be studying chapter 2 of James Allen's masterpiece, As a Man Thinketh. If you haven't read this book, I highly recommend it. I've read it multiple times. I'm studying it again now. There's a couple things I want to point out here. This is about the effect of thought on circumstances. The chapter starts off talking about how the man's mind may be likened to a garden, which may be intelligently cultivated or allowed to run wild. But whether cultivated or neglected, it must and it will bring forth. If no useful seeds are put into the ground, then an abundance of useless weed seeds will fall therein and will continue to produce their kind. This paragraph, to me, was very interesting because I've always referred to my mind, standing guard on the door to your mind, as myself as a babysitter or a manager, because 24/7 distractions, ideas, different thoughts are running around wanting, or at least offering you the opportunity to entertain those thoughts or ideas. But if those thoughts are not intentional and they're not in alignment with what we are, what we're desiring to create for ourselves, then they're ultimately weed seeds. The other day I was watching someone. They were mindlessly scrolling on social media, doom scrolling, as so many of us do. It's a drug. It's a really, really terrible drug. But I thought to myself as I was watching this guy, he was mindlessly scrolling just like everyone else. He had no conscious thought whatsoever about what he was consuming. It was like his thumb was just doing exercise. And little does he know that everything he's looking at produces a thought in his brain. And that thought or that post may be something that he doesn't want. It may be a bad influence. It may be going against what he desires, but he is consuming it, and on some level he's getting emotionally involved with the doom scrolling that he is partaking in. And every single thought that we think has an equal or opposite reaction. Our thoughts become things. Our reality that we are in right now is 100% in due to the thoughts and feelings that we have been associated with. The thoughts that we prescribe to be true in our reality make up our reality. So what we need to be then is gardeners, because there's always going to be an opportunity for weeds to sprout up. All over, there'll be opportunities to think things that you may not want to think. But most of us, many of us, have a habit of behaving a certain way, of feeling a certain way, and entertaining thoughts that we may not even want. How many people are thinking of debt, of stress, of worry, of fear, of situations they don't want to be in, of imagining their worst nightmare? And how often do those continually prove themselves to be true? Someone's thinking about debt. They don't want debt, and they're continually getting mail notifications that they're in debt. They're just getting more of what they're putting out. The mind doesn't care. The mind is the fertile soil. Think of the garden. The fertile soil doesn't care what you plant. You could plant strawberries, blueberries, corn, nightshade, anything you want, a poison, pumpkins. It will sprout what we plant. The mind doesn't care. Its job is to produce more of what we're thinking. And those thought waves then attract similar thought waves, because everything is vibration. So those weeds come into your mind and you wonder why you're getting bad results. It's because of the thoughts that you've been associated with. And step one is to look at your garden and see what weeds are present. Maybe I don't even realize these are weeds. Maybe these are some weird species of weeds that looks like a plant, but they're not giving me the fruit that I want. So we need to clear out any of the weeds and then deliberately plant the seeds of the fruit that we desire. I myself really like raspberries and strawberries and blueberries. I think they all go well together. So I'll put those three in my garden, and I'm going to water those. And get this. This is super, super important. I'm reading this from the book right here. The outer conditions of a person's life will always be found to be harmoniously related to his inner state. Okay. The outer conditions of a person's life will always be found to be harmoniously related to his inner state. Wow, so powerful. I had to read that twice because the inner state is the interior movie playing. It is what we believe to be true. And what we believe to be true is what we get into our world. Remember the example of debt? Someone believes debt to be true. Of course they're getting more debt. I believe myself to be rich. I see more money coming in. I attract more riches. It's really, really simple. But the difficulty, the challenge, if you will, challenge is a better word to me, the challenge, the task is to be a conscious gardener, to not let crows come in and pick at your fruits, to not let weeds blow through the wind and just allow those things into your garden. But when your outer conditions are what they are, know that you're responsible for your outer conditions that you have up to this point. But like I said, it starts with clearing out the garden and rewiring, recoding your inner state. Your inner state is doing this when you start over. You got rid of all the weeds. Now you're planting in the berries that you want. And you're only being involved with your thoughts, with your emotions, with the berries. The weeds don't exist anymore, so you don't think about the weeds. You know that if you think about the weeds, you become emotional about the weeds, you're going to keep getting weeds. So you need to only focus on the fruit. Because how would you expect your mind to know the difference if part of the day you're thinking about berries, you're visualizing berries, you're affirming berries, I have berries now, and then the other part of the day you're affirming lack, scarcity, weeds, debt, bad news. The mind can't give you what you want. It can't grow the berries if you're distracted by the weeds, because the weeds are taking away the nutrients. You're just going to have a garden with weeds and a strawberry plant that doesn't produce strawberries. You may have the plant, but you're not going to get the strawberries. So the inner state is always going to produce the outer state. Just be aware of that. And then alteration in his circumstances has been in exact ratio with his altered mental condition. And that circumstances grow out of thought. You guys are going to realize once you start applying this, that the alterations you're having in your consciousness, that you start now at least becoming aware of your doom scrolling. You become aware of the people that you permit to be around you, the stories that they tell you to be true. Because if you're making big changes in your reality, alteration in your exterior circumstances, you're getting around, you're getting rid of toxic people, you're getting rid of doom scrolling, you're getting rid of the thoughts you've always had, you're not entertaining scarcity anymore, you're not becoming emotionally involved with fear, but you've made a decision that I'm a berry farmer now. Weeds are not acceptable. I don't have weeds a part of my experience. All I know is berries. My mind only thinks about berries. It loves berries. It's grateful for the berries that it has. And to the extent that you alter your mental condition is going to be the extent that you alter your physical reality. Imagine you made a 360 shift. You were unrecognizable because you completely were thinking in a different way. You were feeling in a different way. You were then, because you were feeling and thinking a certain way, took different actions, and those actions became different habits, and those different habits produced different results. And then all of a sudden you became massively successful in creating the life that you desire, doing the things you've always wanted to do, having the things you've always wanted to have, because you flipped your mindset. You flipped your thoughts, those thoughts change your feelings, and it's a whole domino effect. So the extent that you want to change your exterior world is the extent that you want to change your interior world. It's making a decision, again, that I'm not entertaining weeds. When the weeds try to blow into my garden, I immediately push them off because they're not permitted here. I only get emotionally involved and think of the berries. Now, let me give you guys a really, really good example that has internalized in my mindset to make me indestructible, which is realizing that I am who I am. I am all that is. I am a reflection of my interior state. My interior movie playing is what then is broadcasted to the exterior world in my physical results. And in order to change my physical results, I change the internal dialogue, vibration. And I do not need the exterior world to validate, confirm who I am. Because the exterior world is so often a lie. You guys know with the media. You know that what they're saying isn't true. And the exterior world has convinced most of us that we need the exterior world to validate or confirm who we are. But think of this. When you plant the seeds of the berries in the ground and you don't see the plants immediately, you don't immediately see the berries hanging from the leaves or the branches. Is the plant not there? Because the seeds are in the ground, and that in itself is the definition of a plant. If the seed is in the ground, it's automatically being fertilized, and it's in the very, very early stages of that plant. And you don't know how long that your plant is going to require to grow, but as far as you're concerned, you already have the plant. I have the plant. I'm grateful for the plant. I love the plant. Whether the berries are here or not, I imagine the berries. I love the berries. I know that they're delicious. And it's my reality. If the neighbors come by and they want to see your berries, they say, "Where is it? I don't see anything. I don't see the plant." That doesn't matter. You just say, "I'm really grateful. I love having my plants. My plants are wonderful." You already know that they're there. But we're conditioned by society, again, to think that we need to have the exterior world affirm or confirm our reality, when that's not true, because it exists in here. Thought waves are cosmic waves. Thought waves are more powerful than anything else. So when we learn to use them correctly, and again, we make the alterations to our mental condition, our exterior world changes. But whether or not the exterior world changes, you're already happy to be in the garden. You are already enjoying your berries. And you're not dependent on the exterior world changing because you're detached from the outcome, knowing that you already have it. You already have all that is. All of the answers are within you. All of your realities are already occurring on billions of possibilities across parallel realities. All you need to do is be in alignment in your thoughts and feelings with the version of yourself that already has your desires. You only think of wealth. You only think of success. You only think of your desires as your current reality. And any other thought that comes across your way of a weed that tries to come into your garden, you don't relate with it. You disregard it. It has nothing to do with you. It's not permitted in your garden. So we are spiritual farmers. We are spiritual gardeners, and we are always living with our wish fulfilled in the now. And we only think and act in accordance with our inner state. And our inner state then creates our exterior state. But just because you don't see it, it doesn't mean that it's not there. Show your faith. We'll see you guys in the next video.